The great halls of Nexus Prime buzzed with noise as hundreds of alien beings filled the massive chamber. The Galactic Council meeting was about to begin, and everyone knew today would bring talk of new worlds to conquer. Representatives from dozens of species sat in their assigned sections talking loudly about their latest victories. Kang Dae-ho stood quietly in the human section. He was one of only 3 humans who worked for the galactic government. His job as senior galactic archivist meant he kept records of every species and every world the Council had encountered. Today he would need all that knowledge. Admiral Vextar pounded his scaly fist on the table. The giant reptilian saurian was known throughout the galaxy for his brutal military campaigns. His yellow eyes gleamed as he spoke to his fellow commanders about easy victories and weak enemies. Behind him sat rows of other saurian officers, all wearing their battle armor even in the peaceful council chambers. Today we discuss the primitive world called Earth, Admiral Vextar announced in his deep voice. My scouts report the humans have barely left their home planet. They use metal projectiles instead of energy weapons. Their ships are slow and clumsy. This will be our easiest conquest yet. Counselor Thren clicked her mandibles together in what passed for laughter among the insectoid hive minds. Her compound eyes reflected the chamber lights as she tilted her head. The hive agrees with Admiral Vextar. These humans lack unity. They fight among themselves constantly. They have no collective consciousness to guide them. Individual thinking makes them weak and confused. General Morduk slammed his massive green fist down so hard the table cracked. The orcish warlord stood nearly 8 feet tall, and his tusks gleamed white against his dark skin. Scars covered his arms from countless battles. My warriors grow restless, he growled. We need fresh enemies to fight. These humans sound perfect for target practice. Other representatives began shouting their agreement. The bird-like avians squawked about claiming Earth's skies. The crystalline lithoids hummed about the planet's mineral wealth. The energy beings called photons flickered brighter as they discussed absorbing Earth's electrical systems. Kang Dae-ho knew he had to speak now or never. He activated his personal communicator, and his voice echoed through the chamber. Honored Council members, I request permission to address this assembly about the proposed invasion of Earth. The noise died down as alien eyes turned toward the small human section. Many representatives had never heard a human speak in council before. Admiral Vextar waved a clawed hand dismissively. The pet human wishes to speak. This should be amusing. Very well, proceed. Dae-ho stood and walked to the center of the chamber. His legs felt weak, but he forced himself to appear calm. The weight of his entire species rested on what he said next. I have studied the records of every species this council has encountered. I have documented your victories and your defeats. I stand before you today to warn against invading Earth. Laughter rippled through the chamber. General Morduk's booming voice cut through the noise. The human fears for his pathetic homeworld. Tell us, little human, what makes your species so special that we should fear you. Dae-ho activated his holographic display. Images of human history began floating in the air above the chamber. You see humans as primitive because we use projectile weapons, but we have been perfecting the art of warfare for thousands of years. We have fought with sticks and stones, bronze and iron, gunpowder and nuclear weapons. Each time we adapt and improve. The images showed human soldiers throughout history, ancient warriors with spears and shields, medieval knights in armor, modern soldiers with advanced weapons, space marines training for zero-gravity combat. Humans do not just fight, Dae-ho continued. We learn from every battle. We study our enemies and find their weaknesses. We never give up. Admiral Vextar snorted. Pretty pictures of primitives. My energy cannons will vaporize your soldiers before they can aim their crude weapons. Yuku, misunderstand, Dae-ho replied. Yes, our technology seems primitive compared to yours, but we have something you lack. We call it adaptability. When faced with superior enemies, humans do not surrender. We find ways to win anyway. The hologram shifted to show images of human cities. Massive underground complexes connected by tunnels, hidden military bases carved into mountains, orbital stations bristling with defensive weapons. You think we are divided because we have different nations and cultures, but when humanity faces extinction, we unite like nothing you have ever seen. Counselor Thren's voice buzzed with irritation. Individual consciousness is chaos. The hive mind brings order and efficiency. Your scattered thoughts make you vulnerable. Our individual thinking is our greatest strength, Deho argued. When you encounter a problem, your entire hive thinks the same way. Humans approach problems from thousands of different angles. We find solutions that collective minds cannot imagine. He changed the display again. This time it showed human scientific achievements. The first flight, space travel, medical advances, technological breakthroughs that happened in just decades. Look how fast we progress. Other species take centuries to advance their technology. Humans do it in years. When we encounter your superior weapons, how long do you think it will take us to understand them and build better ones? General Morduk leaned forward with interest. You speak of human warriors as if they are fierce, but you are small and weak. My orc soldiers are 3 times your size and twice as strong. Size and strength matter in single combat, Deho admitted. But humans do not fight fairly. We use tactics, strategy, and technology to overcome stronger opponents. We have a saying, on Earth, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The chamber grew quieter as some representatives began to pay closer attention. Deho pressed his advantage. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? We are persistence predators. On our homeworld, we hunted animals much larger and faster than ourselves. We did not chase them down with speed. We followed them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We never stopped pursuing our prey. Interesting, Admiral Vextar mused, though he still looked skeptical. But persistence means nothing against superior firepower. My fleet has conquered worlds with billions of inhabitants. How many of those worlds fought back effectively? Deho asked. How many adapted to your tactics and improved their defenses? During the battle? How many treated invasion as a learning experience? The silence that followed told him everything. These species conquered through overwhelming force against enemies who fought in predictable ways. They had never faced an enemy that got stronger during combat. Deho made his final plea. I am not asking you to fear humanity out of some misplaced loyalty to my species. I am warning you as a friend and colleague who has studied galactic history. Every species that has underestimated human adaptability has regretted it. Do not make the same mistake. For a moment, the chamber was completely quiet. Then Admiral Vextar began to laugh. His laughter was joined by General Morduk's deep chuckles and Counselor Thren's clicking sounds. Soon the entire assembly was laughing at the human who thought his primitive species could threaten the combined might of the galaxy. Your warning is noted and dismissed, Admiral Vextar declared. The invasion of Earth is approved. We shall add another easy victory to our records. Kang Deho walked back to his seat knowing he had failed. As the council voted unanimously to proceed with the invasion, he could only hope that his species would prove him right about human adaptability. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you awakened sleeping giants. 3 months had passed since the Galactic Council voted to invade Earth. Now the combined alien armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system like a swarm of metal locusts. Over 10,000 ships of different designs floated in the darkness beyond Neptune. Massive saurian dreadnoughts gleamed like silver daggers. Insectoid hive mind vessels pulsed with organic curves. Orcish battlecruisers bristled with weapon ports like angry sea creatures. Captain Li Wujin stood on the bridge of his patrol ship, watching the sensor displays with growing dread. His small squadron of 12 vessels had been conducting routine exercises near the outer planets when the alien fleet appeared. The Earth Defense Force had only 300 ships total compared to the thousands now approaching their home. Sir, we are receiving multiple contacts on long-range sensors, reported his communications officer. The young woman's voice trembled as she read the numbers. Computer estimates over 10,000 enemy vessels of unknown configuration. Li Wujin nodded grimly. He had trained for this moment his entire career but never believed it would actually happen. Earth had always assumed first contact would be peaceful. Now they faced the largest invasion fleet in recorded history. Send immediate alert to Earth Defense Command. Tell them the invasion has begun. Dr. Park So-young received the warning at her research station orbiting Mars. As the military's leading expert on alien technology, she had spent years studying the few pieces of foreign equipment that traders had brought to Earth. Now she watched the invasion fleet through her telescopes and felt her heart sink. The ships were far more advanced than anything in her databases. Run analysis on all visible vessel types, she ordered her computer system. I want to know their capabilities, their weapons, their weaknesses if any exist. The computer hummed as it processed the visual data. Analysis complete. Enemy vessels show energy weapon signatures far exceeding Earth military standards. Estimated firepower advantage is approximately 50-1 in favor of the invading force. Dr. Park So-young frowned as she studied the fleet formations. Something seemed wrong with how the ships were arranged. The different alien species were not mixing their vessels together. Instead, each type of ship stayed in separate groups. The Saurian ships formed rigid geometric patterns. The hive mind vessels moved in flowing organic clusters. The Orcish ships spread out in loose aggressive formations. They are not coordinating properly, she whispered to herself. Each species is following their own battle plans. Commander Kim Tae-sung supervised the evacuation of the outer system mining stations. His job was to get as many people to safety as possible before the aliens arrived. Transport ships loaded with frightened civilians streamed toward Earth as fast as their engines could carry them. He knew many would not make it in time. Commander, we have visual contact with the lead elements of the invasion fleet, his sensor operator announced. They will reach the outer stations in 4 hours. Kim Tae-sung made a difficult decision. Signal all remaining stations to begin immediate evacuation. Leave everything behind. Lives are more important than equipment. Meanwhile, Private Choi Min-ho prepared for his first real combat mission aboard the defense platform orbiting Jupiter. The young soldier had joined the military hoping for adventure among the stars. Now he faced the possibility of dying far from home before his 19th birthday. His hands shook as he checked his equipment for the 10th time. Nervous? Asked Sergeant Park, an older soldier with 20 years of experience. Yes, sir, Min-ho replied honestly. I have never fought aliens before. I have never fought anyone before. Sergeant Park smiled grimly. Nobody has fought aliens before, son. We are all learning together. Just remember your training and follow orders. That is all any soldier can do. The first engagement began when Captain Lee Woo-jin's squadron encountered the advanced scouts of the alien fleet. His 12 small ships faced over 100 enemy vessels of various designs. The odds were hopeless, but retreat was not an option. Earth needed time to prepare its defenses. All ships begin evasive maneuvers, Lee Woo-jin commanded. Use the asteroid field for cover. Make them work for every shot. The human ships dove into the dense asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Their smaller size and superior maneuverability allowed them to weave between the floating rocks while the larger alien vessels struggled to follow. Energy beams lit up the darkness as the invaders fired at targets that danced just out of reach. Lee Woo-jin's tactical display showed 3 of his ships already destroyed, but they had managed to damage several enemy vessels in return. The aliens were clearly frustrated by the humans' refusal to fight a conventional battle. They expected us to line up and trade shots like gentlemen, he muttered. They are about to learn that humans do not fight fair. His ship shuddered as an energy beam clipped the port engine. Emergency lights flashed red as his crew worked frantically to maintain power. Engineering, I need more speed, he called out. Engines are at maximum capacity, sir, came the reply. We cannot outrun them much longer. That was when Lee Woo-jin implemented a desperate plan he had learned from studying ancient naval warfare. All ships, emergency stop. Let them get close. Then fire everything we have at point-blank range. The human ships suddenly cut their engines and spun around to face their pursuers. The alien vessels, expecting the chase to continue, found themselves rushing directly into concentrated weapons fire. At close range, even primitive human weapons could penetrate alien shields. 3 enemy ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Dr. Park So-young watched the battle through her telescopes and began to understand something important. The alien ships were individually superior to human vessels, but they fought in predictable patterns. The Saurian ships always maintained perfect formation. The hive mind vessels moved as one unit. The Orcus ships charged straight ahead without subtlety. "Computer, begin recording all enemy tactical patterns," she ordered. "I want to analyze their combat behaviors." Recording initiated. Preliminary analysis suggests enemy forces follow rigid doctrines with little improvisation. This gave her hope. Humans were chaotic and unpredictable in battle. Every captain made different decisions based on local conditions. This flexibility might be the key to victory against a superior enemy. Commander Kim Tae-sung received reports from the first engagement as he coordinated the defense of the inner system. Captain Lee Woo-jin's squadron had been destroyed, but they had taken down a dozen alien ships and delayed the invasion by several hours. More importantly, they had proven that the enemy could be hurt. "All defense platforms, prepare for incoming hostiles," he broadcast to his forces. "Remember what Captain Lee's squadron taught us. Use hit-and-run tactics. Do not engage in prolonged firefights. Make them chase us through the orbital installations." Private Choi Min-ho gripped his weapon tighter as the alien fleet approached Jupiter's orbit. The massive ships looked like floating cities bristling with weapons. He could see smaller fighter craft launching from the larger vessels like angry insects swarming from a nest. "First wave incoming," announced the platform commander. "All gunners, fire at will. Show them what Earth Defense Force can do." The battle for Jupiter's moons began with a thunderous exchange of weapons fire. Human defense platforms hidden among the asteroids opened up on the alien fleet with everything they had. The surprised invaders found themselves taking fire from unexpected directions as the defenders used their knowledge of local space to maximum advantage. But the aliens quickly adapted to this new threat. Their superior numbers began to tell as they systematically destroyed each defense platform. Private Choi Min-ho watched his friends die around him as energy beams sliced through their fortifications like hot knives through butter. Yet something strange was happening. The alien fleet was taking longer to advance than their commanders had expected. Every human position fought to the last man. Every tactical retreat led the invaders into carefully prepared ambushes. The humans seemed to learn from each engagement, adapting their tactics in real time. Dr. Park So-young compiled her battle analysis and sent it to Earth Defense Command. Her report contained vital intelligence about alien weaknesses and coordination problems. More importantly, it proved that the enemy could be defeated through superior tactics and human ingenuity. As the first day of invasion ended, the alien fleet had advanced only a fraction of the distance they had planned. Admiral Vextar stared at his casualty reports in disbelief. His forces had lost over 200 ships to an enemy that should have been crushed in hours. "These humans fight like cornered animals," he growled to his officers. "They show no respect for proper military formations." What the alien commander did not understand was that he had just encountered humanity's greatest strength. When faced with impossible odds, humans did not surrender. They found ways to win anyway. The invasion had begun, but Earth was far from defeated. 6 months had passed since the alien invasion began. The massive fleet had finally reached Earth's orbit after costly delays in the outer system. Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship staring down at the blue and green planet below. What should have been a simple conquest had become a nightmare of endless fighting. "Status report," he demanded from his tactical officer. "Sir, we have established landing zones on all major continents. However, human resistance remains fierce. Our ground forces report that every human settlement has been abandoned. The entire population seems to have vanished underground." General A. Yoon Jae-wook sat in the command bunker buried 3 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains. The Supreme Commander of Earth's military forces studied the holographic displays showing alien positions across the globe. His weathered face showed no emotion as he reviewed casualty reports and supply statistics. "How long can we maintain this defensive strategy?" asked his aide, a young colonel named Kim. "As long as necessary," Yoon replied calmly. "The aliens expected to fight our armies in open battle. Instead, they found empty cities and silent streets. Now they must come looking for us in the dark. The underground cities that housed Earth's population were marvels of engineering that had taken decades to construct. Originally built as shelters against nuclear war, they had been expanded and improved over the years. Now they served as humanity's last refuge against alien invasion. Engineer Han Yuri worked frantically in her laboratory workshop, buried beneath what used to be Seoul. Around her, dozens of technicians examined pieces of alien technology captured from the battlefields above. Every weapon, every piece of equipment, every fragment of alien metal was studied and analyzed. "Have you made progress on the energy weapons?" asked her supervisor. Han Yuri smiled as she held up a device that looked like a human rifle but glowed with alien energy. "Not only have we figured out how they work, we have made them better. Our version fires twice as fast and uses half the power." This was happening in laboratories around the world. Humans had always been excellent at reverse engineering technology. Give them a piece of alien equipment and within days, they would understand its principles. Within weeks, they would build improved versions. Colonel Shinbo Ra led her special operations team through the ruins of London. The city above ground looked empty and abandoned, but hidden beneath the rubble were dozens of concealed positions. Her soldiers moved like ghosts through tunnels that connected every building in the city. "Target acquired," whispered one of her snipers over the radio. 3 alien patrol units moving down Oxford Street." "Wait for them to reach the kill zone," Bora replied quietly. "Let them think they are safe." The alien patrol consisted of 12 Saurian soldiers in heavy armor. They moved cautiously through the empty streets, their energy weapons scanning for threats. These reptilian warriors had conquered dozens of worlds and feared nothing that walked on 2 legs. That confidence proved fatal. The moment they reached the intersection, the street erupted in explosions. Human soldiers emerged from hidden positions in buildings, sewers, and subway tunnels. The aliens found themselves surrounded and outnumbered by enemies who seemed to materialize from thin air. Within minutes, the entire patrol was eliminated. Bora's team quickly gathered the alien weapons and equipment before vanishing back into the underground maze. By the time alien reinforcements arrived, the street was empty except for the bodies of their fallen comrades. Corporal Lim Dong-hyun had never been a soldier before the invasion. He was a college student studying engineering when the aliens arrived. Now he led a civilian resistance cell that operated from the abandoned subway system beneath Busan. His team consisted of teachers, shopkeepers, factory workers, and teenagers who had learned to fight from necessity. "Remember, we are not trying to win battles," he explained to his newest recruits. "We are trying to make the aliens afraid to leave their bases. Every time they send out a patrol, some of them do not come back. Every time they try to secure a building, they find it booby-trapped. Every time they think they control an area, we prove them wrong." The psychological warfare was working. Alien soldiers who had been confident and aggressive at the start of the invasion now moved nervously through human cities. They jumped at shadows and fired at empty windows. The stress of constant guerrilla attacks was wearing down their morale. Dr. Park So-young had been moved to the main command bunker, where she continued analyzing alien technology and tactics. Her intelligence reports had become essential reading for every human commander. She had identified the weaknesses in alien coordination and developed strategies to exploit them. "The Saurians rely too heavily on their armor," she explained to General Yoon. "Their tactics assume they can absorb damage and fight in open terrain. In close-quarters combat, their heavy equipment becomes a disadvantage." "What about the hive minds?" asked the general. "Their collective consciousness makes them predictable. Once you understand how one group thinks, you can predict what they will all do. We have learned to set traps based on their behavioral patterns. And the orcs? Brute force and aggression. They charge straight ahead without thinking. We use their own momentum against them." The aliens were discovering that conquering Earth was nothing like their previous campaigns. Other species had fought conventional battles with clear objectives and predictable outcomes. Humans fought like water, flowing around obstacles and striking from unexpected directions. Major Oh Seung-min crouched in the ruins of what used to be a shopping mall in Tokyo. His assault team was preparing to attack an alien supply depot that had been established in the city center. Intelligence suggested the facility contained advanced weapons and communication equipment. Teams Alpha and Beta moved to flanking positions, he whispered into his radio. Charlie Team, prepare the explosives. Delta Team, provide covering fire from the high ground. The attack began at exactly midnight. Human soldiers struck from 4 directions simultaneously, using tactics that would have been impossible for alien minds to predict. The Saurian guards found themselves facing enemies who seemed to appear and disappear like phantoms. What made the assault particularly devastating was the weapons the humans carried. Many were alien energy rifles that had been captured and modified. Others were hybrid devices that combined human engineering with alien technology. The defenders faced the humiliating experience of being killed by their own weapons. Within an hour, the supply depot was destroyed, and its contents captured. Major Tourier. O's team vanished into the underground tunnels before alien reinforcements could arrive. The enemy would find nothing but empty buildings and the smoking ruins of their equipment. Pilot Nam Hyejin soared through the clouds above the Pacific Ocean in her fighter craft. The small aircraft looked like a typical human design, but its engines glowed with alien energy. Human engineers had learned to combine their own aerodynamic knowledge with captured alien propulsion systems. "Contact, contact," she called over the radio. 6 enemy fighters approaching from the east. The alien pilots expected an easy victory against primitive human aircraft. Instead, they found themselves facing a fighter that moved with impossible speed and agility. Nam Hyejin's hybrid craft could outmaneuver anything in the alien arsenal. She dove through the cloud layer, using the terrain to break enemy targeting locks. Her weapons were a combination of human missiles and alien energy cannons. The aliens had never faced anything like this hybrid technology. Fox 2, she announced as her missiles found their targets. 2 alien fighters exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The remaining enemies tried to retreat, but her energy cannons had longer range than their weapons. 4 more kills confirmed, she reported as the last alien fighter fell into the ocean. Area is clear. Back in the command bunker, General Yoon reviewed the day's battle reports. Human forces had conducted over 300 separate attacks across the globe. Alien casualties were mounting while human losses remained relatively light. The strategy of adaptive resistance was working. "Sir, we are receiving reports from our intelligence networks," announced his communications officer. Intercepted alien transmissions suggest growing dissent among the invasion forces. This was the best news Yoon had heard in months. The different alien species were beginning to blame each other for the failures of the invasion. Saurian commanders criticized Orcish brutality. Hive mind leaders questioned Saurian tactics. Orcish generals complained about their allies' caution. Engineer Han Yuri made another breakthrough in her laboratory. She had successfully created a device that could jam alien communication systems. "If we can disrupt their coordination, they will be fighting blind," she explained to her team. "How quickly can we mass-produce these?" asked her supervisor. "Give me 2 weeks and I can have 1,000 units ready for deployment." The alien invasion had become a war of attrition that humanity was slowly winning. Every day brought new, tactical innovations and technological advances. Every battle taught human commanders more about alien weaknesses. Every engagement proved that adaptability was more powerful than superior firepower. Admiral Vextar stared at his casualty reports with growing frustration. His invasion force had lost over 2,000 ships and hundreds of thousands of troops. The humans seemed to grow stronger with each passing day while his own forces became weaker and more demoralized. "Perhaps we should consider negotiating a withdrawal," suggested one of his officers. "Never," Vextar roared. "We are the superior species. We will crush these primitive humans." But deep in his heart, the alien admiral was beginning to understand what Kang De-ho had tried to warn the Galactic Council about. Humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology or their numbers. It was their ability to adapt, learn, and improve under pressure. The war was far from over, but the tide was beginning to turn. 1 year had passed since the alien invasion began. What was supposed to be a 3-month conquest had become a grinding war that the invaders were losing badly. In space above Earth, Admiral Bae Hyun-soo commanded the first human fleet built with hybrid technology. His ships gleamed with sleek designs that combined human engineering with captured alien systems. "All ships report ready for combat, Admiral," announced his communications officer from the bridge of the flagship Soul's Pride. Admiral Bae nodded as he studied the tactical display. The alien fleet that had once numbered 10,000 ships was now reduced to fewer than 6,000. Many had been destroyed in the constant fighting. Others had withdrawn to repair damage or replace crews lost to human resistance fighters. "Begin Operation Rising Sun," he commanded. "Show these aliens what happens when you underestimate humanity." The human fleet launched from hidden bases on the dark side of the moon. 24 ships moved silently through space toward the alien orbital positions. These vessels looked nothing like the primitive craft that had fought during the early days of the invasion. They were sleek predators built for speed and killing. Each ship carried weapons that were superior to the original alien designs. Human engineers had not simply copied the enemy technology. They had improved it, combining the best features of different alien systems with their own innovations. The result was technology that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Seo Yunji sat in her psychology laboratory deep beneath the Swiss Alps. Around her, walls displayed alien communication intercepts and behavioral analysis charts. Her job was to understand how the alien minds worked and find ways to turn them against each other. "The fractures in their alliance are growing wider," she reported to General Yoon during their daily briefing. "The Saurians blame the Orcs for excessive brutality that turns human civilians into fighters. The Orcs blame the hive minds for overcautious tactics. The hive minds blame the Saurians for rigid thinking that humans exploit." "Can we make this worse?" asked the general. Dr. Seo smiled coldly. "I have been broadcasting fake messages that appear to come from their own command structures. Each species now believes the others are plotting against them. Their coordination is falling apart." Major Oh Seung-min led his assault teams through the corridors of an alien command ship orbiting above the Pacific Ocean. His soldiers moved like deadly shadows in the dim red lighting of the enemy vessel. They had boarded the ship using small stealth craft that were invisible to alien sensors. "Target the command center," he whispered into his radio. "Remember, we need their computers intact. Intelligence wants access to their fleet coordination systems." The boarding action was unlike anything the aliens had experienced before. Human soldiers seemed to flow through their ship like a disease, striking vital systems and vanishing before defenders could respond. The Saurian crew found themselves fighting for control of their own vessel against enemies who knew the ship's layout better than they did. This was possible because human intelligence had captured several alien vessels intact over the past months. Teams of engineers had studied every system, every corridor, every weakness. Now that knowledge was being used to devastating effect. "Engineering secured," reported one team leader. "Power systems are under our control." "Bridge secured," announced another. "Enemy command staff eliminated." Within 30 minutes, the entire alien command ship belonged to humanity. Major O's teams had captured not just a valuable prize, but access to the alien fleet's most sensitive intelligence data. Pilot Nam Hee-jin soared through the asteroid belt in her new fighter craft. The sleek vessel was a masterpiece of hybrid engineering that made her previous aircraft look primitive by comparison. Its weapons could punch through any alien shield. Its engines could outrun any enemy fighter. "Multiple contacts on scope," announced her wingman over the radio. "Looks like an entire Orcish squadron." 12 against 2, Nam Hee-jin replied with confidence. "Poor odds for them." The Orcish pilots were skilled warriors who had terrorized dozens of worlds. But they had never faced anything like the new human fighters. These craft moved with impossible grace, turning and diving in ways that defied understanding. Their weapons fired with deadly accuracy that seemed to anticipate where targets would be, rather than where they were. Fox 1, Nam Hee-jin called as her missiles streaked toward the enemy formation. Multiple kills confirmed. The dogfight lasted only minutes. When it was over, all 12 alien fighters had been destroyed, while the 2 human craft remained untouched. This scene was being repeated across the solar system as human forces launched their first major counterattack. Back on Nexus Prime, Kang De-ho received increasingly desperate reports from the invasion fleet. As the only human in the galactic government, he had become the unofficial liaison between Earth and the Galactic Council. The alien representatives who had once mocked his warnings now demanded explanations. How is this possible? Admiral Vextar asked during an emergency council session. My forces have superior numbers and technology. These humans should have been defeated months ago. I tried to warn you, Kang De-ho replied calmly. Humans do not fight the way other species fight. You planned for a conventional war against a conventional enemy. Instead, you found adaptive predators who get stronger with each battle. Counselor Thren's voice buzzed with confusion. The hive mind does not understand. How can individual consciousness be more effective than collective thinking? Because individual minds approach problems from different angles, De-ho explained. When you encounter an obstacle, your entire species thinks the same way about how to overcome it. Humans have millions of different minds working on the same problem simultaneously. We find solutions that collective consciousness cannot imagine. General, Morduk pounded his fist on the table in frustration. My warriors are the fiercest in the galaxy. How can these small humans defeat them in combat? Size and strength mean nothing when your enemy refuses to fight fair, De-ho answered. Humans do not challenge your warriors to single combat. They use tactics, technology, and teamwork to overcome stronger opponents. They fight to win, not to prove their courage. The Galactic Council was beginning to understand the magnitude of their mistake. They had assumed that technological superiority guaranteed victory. They had not considered that an enemy might learn their technology and improve upon it. They had not imagined that individual thinking could be more effective than collective intelligence. Admiral Bay's fleet struck the alien orbital positions with devastating precision. Human ships appeared from unexpected directions, fired their weapons with deadly accuracy, and vanished before the enemy could respond effectively. The aliens found themselves fighting shadows that struck like lightning and disappeared like mist. Enemy fleet is breaking formation, reported the tactical officer aboard Soul's Pride. Multiple ships are attempting to retreat. Do not let them escape, Admiral Bay commanded. Today we send a message to the entire galaxy. Earth is not defenseless. Humanity will not be conquered. The battle raged for 6 hours across Earth's orbital space. When it ended, over 1,000 alien ships had been destroyed or captured. The invasion fleet that had once seemed invincible was now running for their lives. Dr. Seo Yoonji watched the alien communications networks collapse into chaos. Her psychological warfare campaign had achieved complete success. The different alien species were now openly fighting each other, as much as they fought humanity. Trust between the alliance members had completely broken down. Intercepted transmission from Saurian Command, announced her assistant. They are requesting permission to withdraw from the invasion. And the Orcish response? Asked Dr. Seo. They are calling the Saurians cowards and threatening to attack them if they retreat. This was exactly what she had hoped to achieve. The alien alliance was tearing itself apart from within. Soon they would be too busy fighting each other to threaten Earth. Major Oh Seung-min's teams finished downloading the intelligence data from the captured command ship. The information they had obtained was priceless. Complete tactical plans, fleet positions, supply routes, and communication codes for the entire invasion force. This changes everything, he reported to command. We now know exactly where they are vulnerable. The intelligence revealed the locations of alien fuel depots, ammunition stockpiles, and repair facilities throughout the solar system. Human forces could now strike at the invasion fleet's support infrastructure, crippling their ability to continue fighting. Pilot Nam Hyejin led a squadron of fighters toward an alien supply convoy near Jupiter. The enemy ships were heavily loaded with ammunition and spare parts for the invasion fleet. Destroying them would leave thousands of alien ships unable to repair battle damage. Remember, these are supply ships, not warships, she briefed her pilots. But they will still be heavily defended. Stay sharp and watch each other's backs. The attack was swift and merciless. Human fighters swept down on the convoy like hunting hawks, their weapons tearing through alien defenses with ease. Within minutes, the entire supply train was burning, wreckage floating in space. Back on Earth, engineer Han Yuri put the finishing touches on humanity's most ambitious project yet. In hidden factories around the world, human workers were building a new generation of warships using completely hybrid technology. These vessels would be larger and more powerful than anything in the current human fleet. "How long until the first ship is ready for launch?" asked her supervisor. 2 weeks, Han Yuri replied with satisfaction. "And when it enters battle, the aliens will understand that they are no longer fighting primitive humans. They are fighting an enemy that has surpassed them in every way." The tide of war had completely turned. What had begun as an alien invasion of Earth had become a human counterattack against the invaders. The species that was supposed to be conquered, in 3 months had instead become the aggressor in a conflict that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Vextar stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. His mighty invasion fleet was in full retreat, pursued by human ships that seemed to grow more powerful with each passing day. The easy conquest had become a humiliating defeat that would be remembered for generations. "Sir, we are receiving communications from the other fleet commanders," reported his aide. "They are requesting permission to return to home space." "Permission denied," Vextar growled. "We will not accept defeat from these primitive humans." But even as he spoke those words, the alien admiral knew the war was lost. Humanity had proven that adaptability was more powerful than raw strength. They had shown that individual thinking could overcome collective intelligence. Most importantly, they had demonstrated that underestimating an enemy was the fastest path to destruction. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth was no longer just another primitive world to be conquered. It had become a power that demanded respect. 2 years after the failed invasion began, the great halls of Nexus Prime were filled with panic instead of confidence. The Galactic Council chambers that had once echoed with laughter at human warnings now trembled with fear. Emergency sessions were called daily as reports arrived of human fleets appearing in alien home systems like avenging angels. Fleet Admiral Quan Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of his flagship Indomitable as it emerged from hyperspace above the Saurian homeworld. Behind him stretched a formation of 50 human warships that represented the most advanced technology the galaxy had ever seen. These vessels gleamed with hybrid designs that combined the best of human engineering with captured alien systems. "Admiral, we are receiving multiple surrender requests from the Planetary Defense Forces," reported his communications officer. Quan Ji-hoon nodded calmly. The Saurian military that had once seemed so threatening now cowered before human technology. "Accept their surrender. Remind them that we are here to disable military installations, not harm civilians. We are not conquerors like they were." This restraint confused and frightened the aliens more than brutal conquest would have. Every other species they knew responded to invasion with genocide and enslavement. The humans followed complex rules of engagement that protected innocent lives while systematically dismantling military threats. On Nexus Prime, Ambassador Jang Mi-kyung walked through the corridors that led to the Galactic Council chambers. She moved with quiet confidence, knowing that she represented a species that had transformed from prey to predator in less than 2 years. Her diplomatic credentials identified her as Earth's first official representative to galactic civilization. The alien representatives who had once mocked humanity now watched her approach with obvious fear. These beings had spent centuries conquering weaker species through overwhelming force. They had no experience dealing with an enemy that had become their technological superior through pure adaptability. Honored council members, Ambassador Jang, began as she took her place at the speaker's podium. "I come before you today not as a conquered species begging for mercy, but as the representative of Earth's government. We are here to discuss terms for ending this conflict that your poor judgment began." Admiral Vextar shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His once mighty fleet had been reduced to fewer than 1,000 ships scattered across the galaxy. Most of his forces were trapped in their home systems by human blockades that prevented any military movement. "What terms do you propose?" he asked reluctantly. "Complete withdrawal of all alien military forces from Earth's solar system. Ambassador Jiang replied firmly. Payment of reparations for damage caused during your invasion, formal recognition of Earth as a sovereign galactic power, and a written apology from this council for their unprovoked aggression. The alien representatives looked at each other in shock. These terms were far more generous than any of them would have offered to a defeated enemy. Most species would have demanded total surrender and occupation rights. The humans seemed content with recognition and compensation. Counselor Thren's mandibles clicked nervously. The hive mind inquires about guarantees that Earth will not seek revenge against our worlds. Earth has no interest in conquest, Ambassador. Yang assured her. We defend ourselves when attacked, but we do not start wars for territorial gain. Your people will be safe as long as you respect our boundaries. Kang Deho watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. As the human who had first warned against invading Earth, he felt vindicated by recent events. His new position as liaison between Earth and the Galactic Council gave him authority that no human had ever possessed before. I told you this would happen, he said quietly to Admiral Vextar during a break in the negotiations. Humans do not forgive attacks on their home, but they also do not seek to destroy those who learn from their mistakes. The Saurian admirals' scales had lost their former shine. The stress of constant defeat had aged him visibly. How did your species advance so quickly? 2 years ago you were barely capable of interstellar travel. Now your ships outclass anything we have ever built. Necessity, Kang Deho replied simply. When humans face extinction, we find ways to survive and grow stronger. Your invasion accelerated our technological development by several centuries. You created the very enemy that defeated you. In Earth's orbital shipyards, Captain Yu Sang-woo supervised the construction of humanity's first peaceful colony ships. These massive vessels would carry volunteers to establish human settlements on distant worlds. Unlike the invasion fleets that had threatened Earth, these ships came in peace. How many families have volunteered for the first colonial expedition? He asked his administrative officer. Over 50,000 applications for only 2,000 positions, came the reply. It seems many humans are eager to explore the galaxy now that we have the technology to do so safely. Captain Yu smiled as he watched the construction crews putting finishing touches on the lead colony ship. The vessel was named New Horizon and represented humanity's bright future among the stars. These ships would carry human culture and values to distant worlds, spreading the ideals of freedom and adaptability throughout the galaxy. Dr. Park So-young had been promoted to Director of Galactic Studies at Earth's new Space Technology Institute. Her office walls displayed star charts showing the locations of thousands of alien worlds. Her job now was to prepare humanity for peaceful contact with the many species they had not yet encountered. Intelligence reports suggest there are over 300 spacefaring civilizations in this galaxy, she explained to her research team. Most of them have heard about our conflict with the Invasion Alliance. They are watching to see how Earth behaves as a galactic power. What do our diplomatic protocols recommend? Asked one of her assistants. Peaceful contact whenever possible, Dr. Park replied. We offer trade, technology exchange, and mutual defense agreements, but we also make it clear that Earth will defend itself and its allies against any aggression. This balanced approach was already bearing fruit. Several alien species had sent diplomatic missions to Earth requesting trade agreements and technology sharing arrangements. They were impressed by humanity's rapid advancement and wanted to benefit from human innovation. Engineer Han Yuri stood in the massive assembly hall where Earth's newest warships were being constructed. These vessels represented the cutting edge of hybrid technology that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. But unlike the alien ships that had once threatened Earth, these human vessels were designed for defense and exploration rather than conquest. The new engine designs are 30% more efficient than anything we captured from the aliens, she reported to the design committee. Our weapon systems have twice the range and 3 times the accuracy of comparable alien technology. And the defensive systems? Asked her supervisor. Our shields can absorb energy levels that would cripple alien vessels. Our armor uses composite materials that are lighter and stronger than anything in their databases. This technological superiority was intentional. Earth's military planners had learned that the best way to prevent future invasions was to make Such attacks obviously futile. Any species considering aggression against humanity would face overwhelming technological disadvantage. Meanwhile, Fleet Admiral Quan Ji-hoon's forces continued their systematic dismantling of alien military capabilities throughout the galaxy. His fleets moved from system to system, destroying weapons factories and disabling warships with surgical precision. The goal was not conquest, but the elimination of threats to Earth and its future colonies. "Admiral, we have completed operations in the Orcish territories," reported his chief of staff. "All military shipyards have been destroyed. Their fleet has been reduced to patrol craft and civilian vessels." "Excellent," Quan replied. "Begin withdrawal to the next target system. Remember, we are peacekeepers, not occupiers. Complete the mission and return to Earth space." This restraint was perhaps humanity's greatest strength. While other species would have used their technological advantage to build an empire, humans seemed content to neutralize threats and return home. This behavior confused alien observers, who could not understand a species that preferred peace to conquest. Back in the Galactic Council chambers, the final negotiations were reaching their conclusion. Ambassador Jang Mi-kyung presented the formal treaty that would end the conflict and establish Earth's place in galactic civilization. This document guarantees Earth's sovereignty and establishes mutual recognition between our species, she explained. It also creates a framework for peaceful cooperation and trade between Earth and any alien civilization that chooses to honor these agreements. General Morduck read through the treaty with obvious reluctance. The terms were generous but firm. Earth would not seek revenge, but it would also not tolerate future aggression. Any species that attacked human interests would face the full might of Earth's advanced military. "What happens to species that refuse to sign this treaty?" he asked. "Nothing, as long as they leave Earth and its allies alone," Ambassador Jang replied. "We have no interest in forcing our values on others, but we will defend ourselves against any future threats." The treaty was signed by representatives of all major alien civilizations. The document officially recognized Earth as a sovereign, galactic power with the right to defend itself and establish colonies. It also created the framework for peaceful coexistence between humans and aliens. As the ceremony concluded, Kang Dae-ho reflected on how much had changed since he first warned the Council against invading Earth. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had become the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. The humans, who were supposed to be easily conquered, had instead become the protectors of galactic peace. Captain Yu Sang-woo launched the first human colony ship toward a distant star system that had been selected for peaceful settlement. New Horizon carried 2,000 volunteers who would establish humanity's first interstellar colony. Unlike the invasion fleets that had once threatened Earth, this ship came in peace with gifts of technology and friendship. "Course laid in for the Kepler system," announced his navigation officer. "Estimated travel time is 6 months using the new hybrid drive systems." "Engage," Captain Yu commanded. "Let us show the galaxy what humans can accomplish when we explore instead of conquer." The colony ship disappeared into hyperspace, carrying humanity's dreams to the stars. Behind it, Earth continued to grow stronger and more advanced with each passing day. The failed alien invasion had transformed a primitive world into a galactic superpower almost overnight. In the years that followed, many alien species would request human military advisors to help defend their worlds against aggressive neighbors. They had learned that humanity's greatest strength was not their advanced technology, but their ability to adapt, overcome, and unite when threatened. The galaxy had discovered that some sleeping giants should never be awakened. Earth now stood as a beacon of hope for peaceful species and a warning to those who chose the path of conquest. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through aggression, but through the simple refusal to surrender when faced with impossible odds. The failed invasion of Earth would be remembered for generations as the moment when the balance of galactic power shifted forever. What began as an attempt to conquer a primitive world had ended with the emergence of civilization's newest and most formidable protector,